think in my point of view, that there's no such thing as a perfect relationship, only because I think we are instilled with this idea of like movie love.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Oh, totally.
And we have this idea of like, we're gonna fall in love and he's gonna bring me roses and he's gonna sprinkle rose petals all over the bed and it's gonna be perfect. And I think that people have this misconception of like a perfect love and a perfect relationship. I think any relationship that you're in, granted, it's gonna take work in the sense of you are allowing yourself to be in love with another person and then love them completely and them love you completely. That doesn't mean changing, and that doesn't mean like
more
becoming a different
accepting
person for them, but it means compromise, totally.
Compromising it.
And because when you deal with compromise, your idea of perfect is blown out of the water.
Yeah.
Because you're saying, well, this isn't perfect to me. It's not
have
perfect
to-
that I have to live in, A city rather than B city, or that he's taking this job and works 20 weird hours a day and I never get to see him. But I think it's about compromise. So I think terming any type of abuse towards a bad relationship, I think it's a misnomer. I think abuse is something that happens because of a person just this innate quality, not a quality, but an innate possibility in a person that they can't handle a situation, and so they use their physicality or their emotional power over a person to maybe even establish what they even think may be a perfect relationship.
Yeah.
So let me ask a quick question. What is the mindset of a victim, or is that the right way to say it? The mindset of a victim, someone...
Well, what I prefer is the person who's being abused.
Okay.
Because victim, to me, doesn't have a good connotation. And often people are stuck in an abusive relationship and they can't get out. And we've
Right.
all seen on TV politicians
But why?
say,
Well, why can't
why
they
don't
get
you
out?
just leave?
Is it, I mean,
Yeah,
do
because
they not have a
some people
desire?
say some people say just leave. So
Yeah, I mean, is
Well-
it not that easy to just leave?
Think about a woman who has 3 children and she's a homemaker.
Right.
And her spouse or her boyfriend is abusing her. Where does she go? What does she do? Is she going to support her 3 children on waitress earnings? So sometimes people are trapped. Among college students, it would be more like that they're emotionally trapped, that they're in a
Right.
relationship and
Monetarily, maybe, perhaps.
that it might be monetary, it might be from the outside it looks good and nobody knows what goes on behind the scenes. A lot of the people that are watching this program may be in a relationship that is abusive to them and not even know it. They think, well, my boyfriend or my girlfriend just has had a hard life, and so when they're mean to me, that's not
they're
their
just
fault.
venting and they're just
Right.
That's right.
kind of going up and they think it's normal.
A lot of times people who are abused make excuses for the abuser. I don't know if
Yes.
that...
So is that
that's
one
what
of the
I've read, that she
characteristics?
makes
Yes.
excuses.
That's right.
Right.
He's having a hard time, or it's just the alcohol, or
Like that's the way
her
he
daddy
acts.
was
He
mean
just-
to her,
Yeah.
but it just enables it.
Do you think that the abuser maybe feels like they have provoked the situation, that maybe by them doing some action, they have caused the reaction to be inflicted upon themselves?
That's one of the most common, and in fact, abusers encourage that thinking. If it weren't for you, or if
Oh,
dinner was
yeah.
ready on
If
time,
you wash the clothes, then
that's right, so it's your fault. The other is often the person who's being abused may have kind of what I call a tragic empathy. Well, my boyfriend had a bad childhood and his parents were mean to him, so I just need to hang in there for him and I need to be more
save
patient,
him.
right? So I call that a social worker complex. I'm going to be patient and I'll just put up with it because he's had a bad life, and the person loses any sense of, I'm being abused.
Yeah.
I'm not being treated right.
Yeah.
That's one of the clear signs of domestic violence and domestic abuse, is when the person doesn't seem to have a sense of, this is not right what's being done to me. And you can see it,
So
but they don't.
I find that you see her like echoing his or her own sentiments. Like the abuser says, like you're terrible,
stupid.
you're terrible, you're stupid, you don't love me enough. Do you find that she or he echoes those, like, oh, it's just because I don't love him enough, or it's because I don't love her enough, or it's because I'm just stupid and clumsy, or
yeah, sort of. It's like it's starting to be like she thinks something's wrong with her, or they seem like it might be a little bit her fault when it's none of it's her fault. But
He's just trying to point out my flaws and trying to help me.
Exactly.
That's
Exactly.
something you hear
But
from an
like I was
abuse-
saying, I think that's where compromise, when you have to realize in a relationship, you can compromise only so much. You
Yeah.
can compromise where you live, and you can compromise how much money you spend and
Yeah.
in like trying to like better your environment. You can compromise on lots of issues, like if we're gonna have kids or not. But I think when it compromises your self-worth,
Yeah.
then that's when you have to say, whoa, 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 this is a compromise I'm not willing to make.
No, without a doubt.
Exactly.
Yeah, I'd have to agree. Another thing that I'd like to kind of point out was that I personally have never experienced any form of domestic violence. And the same female who I was talking about earlier, I guess, since she had an abusive relationship, she kind of brought some of that into our relationship because we dated for a while. And I don't know if it normally carries over with someone. Okay, I mean, she wasn't seeing this person anymore. But, like, the way we used to interact with each other took me
seemed
to an
like-
entirely different level.
Yeah.
Because I'm so not even, like, I wouldn't harm a fly.
Yeah.
But I found myself sometimes
upset.
in the heat of an argument, definitely getting upset. I never raised my hand up against her, but
you be about, you be.
I'd just be furious sometimes.
Yeah.
Just not
But
just,
look,
just
the
listening.
difference is, you said, I feel like it. We arrest people for their behavior, not their thoughts or feelings.
Right.
Don't we all have
Feel like-
murderous thoughts at times?
Yes.
The difference between an abuser and a non-abuser is the abuser doesn't have that inhibition. The abuser acts out.
Yeah.
So having thoughts of wanting to shake somebody, we all have that.
Oh, yeah.
But it's the shaking of the person that is the abuse.
Yeah.
Does that make sense to you?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
It definitely.
Another
does.
thing, when you talk about how someone who's been abused relates to you, I wonder if either the two of you guys have had the experience of being with someone and either feeling like you're paying for the sins of other guys. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Or feeling like you're nurturing and generous and praising, and the girl doesn't know how to relate to that. She
Yeah, kind of. I don't know. I just talk about what I'm in now. It's like it's the same. It's the same thing. I'm generous to her and I'm nice to her and I'm like really, I'm really nice to her. We have our little scuffles, but that's with every relationship. But I'm nice to her and she doesn't know how to. She really doesn't know how to take it. She didn't know how to take it at first. So it's like I think it's a product of domestic abuse. Yeah. So I think it does have a.
She just not like comments, like if you like
Yes.
girls love nothing more than compliments.
Yeah, but she doesn't know
I
how to take.
guarantee
She
you
can't take a compliment. She's just like, no, no, I don't, no. So I think that might be some of what you were saying.